In this video, we're going to be covering our roster screens, all the information that is provided to us in those screens, as well as the different things that we can do from those screens. So let's get started by clicking our roster button, and it brings up our individual player card screen, which on the bottom shows us our salary cap, how much we've used out of what is available to us, the overall team morale, and the overall offense and defensive ratings. At the very top, it shows us our roster space, and I'll quickly show you how to get to that 12-man roster from a 10-man. So if you click that options wrench on the very far right of the screen, yours will say 10-man if you're starting a new game, and if you click that button, you can change it to a 12-man roster. That will also increase your salary cap immediately from 150 million to 200 million. So gives you a larger salary cap as well as the option to add more players to your roster. So let's go back to our player card screen by clicking the roster button from the home screen. And each individual player card is going to show the position, their individual morale, any awards that they've won, rings that they've won, as in retro bowls that they've been a part of, their individual player rating. The rookies will show the yellow R icon there. All the blue cards are our offensive players. The red cards are our defensive players. And the orange cards are our kickers. There is another roster screen that we can look at by clicking the helmet on the left side. So let's look at the spreadsheet screen by clicking that icon there. And on this screen, we're going to go through this spreadsheet layout by going column by column from left to right. On the left side is going to show each individual player's morale next to their name. Then it shows their position, just like on our card screen, blue being offense and red being defense, their individual conditions, their skill levels. So it does break down the statistics a little bit more in depth than our card screens. So the skill position is going to, or skill rating is going to be different from player to player, or position to position, I should say. So the quarterback skill is their throwing accuracy. So my quarterback has a 10 under that category, which means they have the maximum throwing accuracy. The running back, tight end, and wide receiver's skill is their catching ability. And so those are going to be a 1 through 10 rating as well. The offensive lineman is a blocking skill position. So their skill level is their amount of blocking. And the defensive players is going to be tackling. Strength is going to be arm strength for the quarterback. Strength for the running back, tight end, wide receivers are all going to be their ability to hold on to the ball. And then strength for the offensive lineman is going to be the same as with the defensive players. Speed is going to be the same across the board. All players' speed stats are going to be how quickly they can move around the field. Stamina will differ from positions. The quarterback stamina is going to be how late into the game they can continue to throw the ball far. Running backs and receivers' stamina is going to be more related to their leg speed, how long they can continue to have quick speed in terms of running with the ball. The salaries are going to be that next category, their individual salaries, and those are attached to the contract, which is the next column there. So the quarterback contract will finish at the end of this year since it is a 1-year contract. The next one is ages. The gold numbers, the 21s, are our rookies. All players do retire at 36 years old. The final column is the XP level on a 1 through 10 rate. I believe it's to 10. The kicker's in 10, so I'll have to pay better attention to what happens after we max out that XP level on 10. Increasing your XP level allows you to max out stats. Once you've maxed out the player's stats, each time you increase their XP level, you will instead earn coaching credits. So let's go back into the card selection or card screen and click on an individual player card. And this brings up a individual player screen. This presents us with all the information we've seen so far, just presented a little bit differently in terms of bar graphs. The only real new information it shows here is the value of the player on that left side. It shows round 1 pick for this player. We'll get into that once we go to the trade screen, but first let's go to the stats screen. So on the stats screen, it breaks down the player's stats by game, season, and career. So in this season, I've only played 1 game so far, so that game stats and season stats are going to be identical. But if we'd played multiple games this season, those will be different statistics. It shows us the attempts, completions, the completion percentage, the yards, the average amount of yards per pass, the longest pass, amount of touchdowns, amount of fumbles, interceptions, and sacks. At the very bottom there, it shows us the awards that the player has won, the furthest being Retro Bowl rings, so the player having won a Retro Bowl with you, the MVP award next to that, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. The quarterback does have the option to toggle between passing statistics as well as rushing statistics. Since they can do both, we can pass the ball with the quarterback. We can also QB sneak and rush the ball with the quarterback. So let's go ahead and look at the rushing statistics, and it breaks them down just the same: game, season, career. And this would be your rushing statistics with your quarterback. Remember, this is individual player statistics, so this is specific to your quarterback. Let's go to back to our individual player screen, and let's take a look at one of the other screens we can access from the player screen. So the next would be our meeting screen. So if we click the meeting button, we can boost the individual player's morale from the screen by paying coaching credits to do so. So it's going to cost me 3 coaching credits to have a psychological meeting with the player to increase his morale. So I'll go ahead and do that, and you can see his morale has increased to okay. We are limited to 1 meeting per week per player. So now that I've done that, all the other options are now grayed out for this week. I can play a game, come back after playing another game, and I would have the option to click those again. Let's go to another player so I can show you one of the other meeting options, the extend contract option, because that one is important. So let's go to the running back, and let's have a meeting with our running back. And we can see his current contract is going to end at the end of this year. It's a $30 million contract. We can spend 30 coaching credits to extend that contract. So that's a lot of coaching credits, but this would be an effective way to help you with your salary cap, because if I don't extend that contract, when his contract expires, it's most likely going to be more expensive for me to re-sign this player. Going back to the value of the player, we can also trade the player from the screen, which we can click that trade button, and that will offer us the ability to trade him for a round 1 pick in the next draft. Benching is the final option from the screen, which we could do to rest the player if their condition is low, or to bench them if we had another running back on the team that we wanted to play in their place. Going back to meeting, we had the option to level the player up, XP, or boost the individual player's condition from there as well, which we didn't do in this video, but you could do it from that screen. If we go back to that helmet, our spreadsheet screen, we can do those things on a team basis. So I can spend coaching credits to boost the overall morale of my team from this screen, or to boost the overall condition of my entire team. So if we have low overall morale or low overall condition for the entire team, we could spend coaching credits to boost those from this screen as a whole for the team versus individually in those individual team or player meetings, which we got from our individual player screen. Let's go back to our card screen so we can click into an individual player, and I wanted to also show the Hall of Fame. So that ribbon in the top right, you can click that to add a player to the Hall of Fame. So you can see the quarterback's been added to the Hall of Fame. His ribbon is extended down. The Hall of Fame is a collection that you can access from your home screen, and it's just a collection of cards that you choose to collect based upon if you like the career that you had with the player and want to save their statistics prior to retiring or trading them away. Because once you retire or you trade a player, you will no longer be able to see their statistics. So you can add them to the Hall of Fame so you can look back on them and recall those things. I did want to go back into the kickers individual player card so I could show you that XP level 10 bar. So you can see that one's not quite filled up here. I believe what will happen is I'll earn a coaching credit and it will just stay at level 10 once we max that out. And you'll just continue to earn a coaching credit per time that you fill that bar up. The only last option from that screen is to edit the player's name by clicking the pencil next to their name. So you see there, we can click the pencil and allow us to edit the player's name. So hopefully that was a helpful video for you guys, and thanks for joining.